ship. Paul, with me is Alex.
Hi.
Amy's being lazy, she's in bed, and I'm actually joking, she just got off a 12-hour shift graveyard, so she's pretty tired. So I think we can excuse her for that. So before we begin, let's hit the like, share, subscribe, and let's go. Well, today we're going to make some homemade Italian sausage pizza, and it's not really going to be so Italian, but it's going to be more of a basis how to do things by hand in case you don't have a bread maker, in case you're doing everything straight up. And I just read a lot of comments and a lot of people sit and say, well, you know, Paul, it's just so much cheaper and easier to buy a pizza. And you're right, it is easier. Sometimes it can be a little cheaper, but it's not always so good for you because you got to realize a lot of places use a lot of process. I'm not going to name locations, but sometimes making your own food is a lot better for you, and I'll give you some examples. 90% of the restaurants have a practice, and Alex, you tell me if this would surprise you. You go out and you spend $50 for a meal for you, because you're going to an upscale restaurant. And in order for them to make a profit line and make it easier for their profits, what they'll do is they'll buy things from a big food company. They'll take it, they'll season it, throw it in the microwave, and then bring it out to you. Does that surprise you, Alex?
Not really, no.
It's disgusting. And I know there's several really expensive restaurants that I felt like I was absolutely disgusted with because all they did was use Chef Mike. There's a few really good restaurants we have in town that really make good food, and they make everything from scratch. Those are the places I don't mind giving my money to. But a restaurant, real restaurants, a lot of the times will actually rip you off by just doing as less as they can so they don't have to hire a chef, so they can just hire line cooks and basically do as much as they can in the microwave and do as little as real work as they can just so they don't have to spend the money. So a lot of times if you want better food, you're going to have to pay for it. A quick shout out to some of my buddies at work. Christian, I'm going to miss you if you do disappear. Colin, I hope you watch some of these and you can have a better Whopper Wednesday by actually cooking some food for a change. And I'm sure there's a clinic around that can solve the rest of the Whoppers for you. Warren, I really hope that you get a better car sometime soon, buddy. Obi, we'll see you Monday or Tuesday, buddy. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our dough. It's going to be homemade. I'm not using a bread maker for this. I'm just going to do this from scratch. So I'm going to start off by getting out 4 cups of flour. I got a number of things that we're going to work on today. I'm going to try to I'm going to make the taco sauce that Taco Bell actually has, but I'm going to try to make it a lot better.
And a lot healthier.
Oh, heavens. Like some of the biggest problems that you'll ever have anywhere really is the fact that they use a lot of sugar. Like, you ever wonder why Wendy's sometimes can taste good and other times taste bad? And it's the same reason why Taco Bell just tastes horrible all the time.
Yeah.
Is because, well, Taco Bell and all these restaurants, they take their meat sauce and they dump a lot of salt in it. Salt can improve the taste a lot. It's not good for you, but it can improve. But the longer it sits out, it becomes mush.
And they use way too much salt.
Yeah, and they do that. It's a preservative for a lot of it.
Yeah.
And that's just not a good thing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of salt, not a lot. You'll notice that I don't use very, very much salt at all, if any. I'm going to use a little bit of zesty cheese spice. If you don't have this, it's not a big deal. Really isn't. It's not a big deal. And of course, I'm going to be searching for something. I have no idea where it is, and this is going to be fun. And this is one of the things that I was planning and talking about. Oh, I found a reason. Something that'll improve your cooking right away is if you have everything ready before you start. Chef Paul does not always practice what he preaches. I try to. I think I need more of this very soon. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons.
And what was that, yeast?
Yeast, yeah. And before we add anything else, I'm just going to take, and that's instant active dry yeast. I think Amy destroyed the bottle on me, and that's why I'm kind of out of it. Chef Amy can be a little clumsy sometimes. Still love her. I want to give a good mix inside so that everything's all combining and all mixed in, because if you don't, it does matter. When you're baking, and this very much is baking, it's a bread, right? Pizza dough. It's more of an exact science than it is guesswork. When you put things away, you start cleaning, leave your flour around because you're going to need it a little bit later. Okay, so we're almost done. So I'm going to put in 2 cups of warm water, not cold water and not hot water. So don't throw this in the microwave when it's really cold. It's going to get really hot water, and you don't want that. You want warm water. This can be a very frustrating process because, and believe me, it is. Some people say, well, why did you take the time and use a dirty cup? Well, it's a dirty cup because we just had flour with it. So it's really not that dirty. Put the salt away because we never use it for anything else, really. So we're just going to stir things together really good. Now, this is a really long and arduous process. It's annoying, and yes, I will give you, it does suck. But if you don't have a bread maker and you want to make homemade pizza, this is what you're going to have to do. And this, for a lot of people, is really the worst part about making pizza dough.
The stirring part, yeah.
Mixing it. I mean, anybody can sit there and make an actual pizza. It's really not that hard. I mean, and by all means, guys, Alex can cook.
Yeah.
He's not a bad cook at all. Alex is actually a really good cook. But if you asked him to do something like this, he probably might avoid it because, well, it's just a lot of work, right? And
yeah.
You don't necessarily always seem like there's any real value to it, because, and if you go down the street and you can get a pizza, and here's the problem. You can spend about $25 on a medium pizza, and that's what they cost these days. You can spend the $25, but
it's not going to be as healthy.
It's not going to be as healthy, and you know what? I can make a whole pizza for under $25.
Yeah. Homemade pizza usually tastes better too.
It's better for you. I'm not going to put a whole lot of processed anything on this. I'm actually going to use some. I'm actually going to be using legitimate meat from sausages that we cooked last night. So, I mean, if you think about it, you can... Don't be afraid to put a little bit of more flour on this. It does make it a whole lot easier. And yeah, your hands get dirty. It gets pretty messy. But, you know, it's worth it in the end, trust me. If you can get by this part, and it takes a few minutes to do it. It can take like 10 minutes, they say. But just be patient with it. Eventually it will come together. I mean, personally, I'm not always a huge fan of it because, well, beating the dough is not fun. I've got it enough that I'm starting to get a little happy with it, so I'm just going to do this in here. And if you got some water and some soap, this will all clean off really good. So it's honestly not like you can't get this clean. Okay, so I got this to the point where I've got it where I want, so I'm just going to try to get as much of the product off my hands. And I'm going to go clean my hands, and while I'm doing that, Alex can talk to you for a few minutes about whatever he wants. And when I come back, we'll start talking about some little tips that you can use to just improve your cooking drastically without really having to make a whole lot of effort. Or buy anything that you shouldn't already have.
Yeah.
And if you already have it, then if you don't have it, then you should probably get it because it's going to be pretty good for you. And I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey guys, so let's take a look at the dough. That's what it looks like. And as Poul was saying, it really is better to make your own dough than go out and buy pizza, because not only is it healthier, but it also saves you a lot of money. A medium pizza probably is like $25 to $30, so you're saving a lot of money by making your own pizza dough. And with all the processed things that restaurants put in dough, it really is a lot healthier to make your own pizza dough. So when Poul comes back, he'll let this sit for about 15 minutes with some saran wrap over it, and then we'll come back after 15 minutes. He's still washing his hands, but he'll probably be back pretty soon. That's the one thing I don't like about making homemade dough, is that it gets really messy. But it does wash off pretty easily. And Poul's back.
Okay, so there's a few things that we need to always consider when we're cooking something. Number one, before doing anything in the oven, always, and I really mean always, preheat. If you don't preheat, you notice how it's coming along pretty good now.
Yeah.
If you don't preheat, then it doesn't cook evenly. So if it's telling you to cook at 300 degrees for 25 minutes, if you throw it in before it's done preheating,
it's not going to be at the right temperature.
It's just not.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that it is. If you have to use sugar, I recommend using stevia if you don't have it on hand, because stevia can be a little expensive.
And I was just saying to everyone that you'll probably have to let this sit for about 15 minutes.
Actually, this has to sit for an hour.
An hour, okay.
Yeah. But if you don't have stevia, use brown sugar. It's better. When it comes to cooking meat, if you really want to get your meat to a full extent that you want it to cook the best, dry it off. Take some paper towel. Do what you can and dry it off. And sometimes it's better to bake things than it is to boil them. It'll cook evenly. It'll cook better. And try to learn how to cook with other foods, because there's guava. Use guava. It has a lot of good elements to it. If you need something nutty, consider chickpeas. Get a can of chickpeas, drain it, pat them dry if you need to, spice them up, throw them in, because there's so many health values to it that blow it. Now you can start to see this is starting to look a whole lot better now.
Yeah.
Now you can go the route of making this into a ball with your hands if you want. I'm not going to bother. Might come back to bite me, but you really don't need to do it. So Alex is saying 15 minutes. It's 1 to 2 hours.
Okay.
However long it's going to take for it to get into twice the size that it was. Parchment paper. Yes, wrap. We don't want this in the fridge. We're just going to leave this out here, but we're going to cover it.
So it doesn't dry out.
Yeah, we don't want it to dry out. Some people will take some olive oil and they'll coat the bottom of that with it. I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's always necessary. No one's perfect. By all means, if something doesn't turn out perfectly, it's not always your fault. But just try to think about what you did. If you can think what you did wrong, then you know what, you'll do better next time. So I'm gonna leave this like this for at least an hour. I'm gonna come back and check, and when I see that it's doubled in size, then I know we're done, and then we can proceed with the next step, which I'm really excited for the next step because it's one of my favorite parts. But pizza, this was honestly the worst step in making the pizza, is the dough. I think everybody here can conceive that they can make really good pizza. They know exactly, if they know the rest, if they know how to do that. I mean, really, how hard is it to make a pizza? Really, sauce, meat, vegetables, and cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, is that hard?
Not really.
Anybody can do that, right? But it's getting that dough. Because I guarantee you, if Alice can get in the habit of doing this, he'd probably be making some really awesome pizzas.
Yeah.
Probably would. I'm pretty sure Alex would.
I think I could.
And I know he could. It's not that hard to do. It's just a matter of, getting that part of it done.
Yeah.
So, like I said, please hit the like, share, subscribe, and we'll be back soon. Alright, so welcome back. So we're almost done the dough. It's been sitting for 2 hours. I'm just waiting for Alex to get back. He got a little sick and he needs a little bit of a break, so I sent him back to bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this all with a little bit more flour, and then I'm going to roll that up and I'm going to let that sit for another hour. Hopefully by the time I'm done that part, he'll be back. So again, all I'm going to do is just put flour around there. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to knead and beat on it, make it into another little ball, and give it another hour. And that's it. So we'll be back when we're done that. Welcome back. So see our pizza dough crust that we're going to be forming here. It's nice. I mean, you can try to make it as perfect as you want. I don't really want to make it that perfect. It's good enough for me, I think. So we're going to start with this. Hey, Alex, I got a question for you.
What's that?
What's better? A $45 Whopper or a $10 Whopper.
$10 Whopper.
Yeah, and you know why?
Why is that?
Because the $10 Whopper isn't going to bring you kids. Colin, if you actually watch this, you'll actually understand this. Anybody else probably won't. And that's fine with me. So I'm just going to put some spaghetti sauce. And you ask, like, why spaghetti sauce? It's usually thick enough. This actually doesn't seem to be a very good one. I'm probably going to regret this later. Most spaghetti sauce is a little bit easier for most people because otherwise you're probably going to be in the kitchen cooking a little bit more than you want to be.
Yeah.
But it'll do. You don't want to overdo it. And I'm doing this because I'm going to be cooking something else here when this is done. That does require some of this. So that looks good to me.
Yeah, it does look good.
So we got that here, and then I'm going to lay down some onions. Now, people are going to ask, like, Paul, what's with you and onions? Well, you know what? Onions are healthy, and we all need to be eating a lot more of these. And I know people complain, well, I don't really like the taste of onions. You know what? If you don't really like the taste of onions, you don't like the texture of them, and that's fine. What you want to do is put this right into a food processor, and then put it right into the sauce itself. You have all the benefits of it, it'll be there. But you should always have it because this helps your immune system. This helps so many things, and it's just one of those things that you really need to have. Alright, so I was going to do this before I put the onions on, but it's silly me. I'm going to put a little bit of Cajun. It's a Mexican spice. It's a sweet spice, not a hot sauce. I'm going to spray that on top of there. And I'm going to put some more of the cheese. If you're going to use spaghetti, like homemade spaghetti sauce, or pardon me, not homemade, store-bought spaghetti sauce to do this, a lot of times it's just not going to be enough. Like, you want to have a little bit more flavor to it. So I got smoked paprika and onion. And one of the reasons I tell you not to bother putting a whole lot of salt on things, because often the spices you use actually include, believe it or not,
Salt.
So, I mean, to me, should feel really lucky because I'm sharing my pineapple, because I rarely ever do that. Pineapple's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Terho, I'm sorry, buddy, but pineapple does belong on pizza.
It does.
If you don't like it, you don't have to have it.
Pineapple definitely belongs on pizza.
Oh, it just adds so much flavor to it. Now I've got some sweet pepper on here. Another thing I like about homemade pizza over store-bought, and you have to be careful where you're buying it from.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll say, oh, we're selling this type of pizza and it's supposed to have green onion on it. But the problem is the green onions are chopped so small that you know they're there, but it only because you've had to really do a close inspection of the pizza, and then you'll see it. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
If I'm paying for the green onion, I want to see that there's green onion there. I want to be able to taste it. And unfortunately, with a lot of the pizzas, you just don't.
Yeah.
You control the size of your stuff. I mean, maybe I should have cut this off a little smaller, but I mean, I don't think it's that bad. Do you, Alex?
No, I think it looks pretty good.
I'll find something to do with this after. And a piece of resistance, some Italian sausage. We cooked this up last night. A lot of times if you're putting meat on pizza, now if it's sandwich meat, don't worry about it, but if it's real meat, cook it first. But Amy and I had this for dinner last night. It was really good too. But we couldn't really throw anything back into the freezer. So it had to get used.
Yeah.
So this is when I got the bright idea. Why not just make pizza? Now this is another little secret, and at this time I'm gonna, and I should have done this before, I'm gonna put this up to 500, preheat to 500. Now remember guys, when you're about to cook, make sure that you, probably earlier the better so you're not sitting here waiting like we are. Because now we're gonna wait. Always want to make sure that you're preheating your oven. Like, just don't throw your meat in and then put on, because you're gonna wait a while. That's silly. Just don't do that.
Yeah. If you put it in before it preheats, it's not going to be at the correct temperature.
Yeah, like you're supposed to put on for 30 minutes. It's in before it's actually done preheating.
Yeah.
You probably only cooked it for 25.
Yeah.
Now, putting cheese on, it's not really that important what type of cheese you put on. The higher quality cheese that you put on, the better tasting it's going to be. Personally, I would stay away from American cheese. The melting point on a lot of American is just, it's not that good.
No.
It's good for eating, it's good for a snack, and I'm not saying it's poor quality. It's just not necessarily the best cooking cheese. Smoked Gouda is really nice.
Yeah. Mozzarella is also good.
Yeah. But something from Italy, from Germany, Holland, France, they make cheeses that are really good quality for cooking.
Yeah, they do.
And you don't want to overload it with cheese. Believe me, it'll be there. You know it's there. But if all you have is just a layer of cheese on it, chances are it's just too much and it'll be greasy. I just can't say that enough. It'll ruin your pizza on you. And just an FYI, when we serve Amy's, hers is going to have a little bit of hot sauce. So if she sits there and thinks that we made something super hot, that's what she's talking about. So I'm going to put this in the oven, 500 degrees, and I'm going to let it go for about 15 minutes. You don't need to see me put this in the oven. I'm sure we all know how to do that. You know how to do that, right, Christian? My buddy Christian is just expecting his next kid. Very proud of the guy. So I'm going to take some time, do some dishes, wait for the oven to preheat, and put this in. In 15 minutes, we'll take her out and we can all see what's going on. So we'll be back. Welcome back. So here we are. So before we finish, please hit the like, share, subscribe button. I really love everybody to know what we're doing. It helps us out quite a bit. But here's our final product. If we look here, it's all nice and crisp. You want to pay attention to your pizza as it goes into the oven, because if it starts burning, you want to make sure that you're aware of it, because otherwise it can cause problems. So you always want to do that. So this is our final product. I hope you guys like it. And like I said, please hit the like, share, subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.